Hey y'all, it's Jodi here, and you're listening to my flippin' podcast.
Y'all, you just gotta embrace the suck.
I'm in my 30s. I have 3 kids,
All born in different decades.
selling houses, flipping houses, renting houses, raising kids, random farm animals.
I can't see them.
Hey y'all, this is my flippin' podcast, and I'm Jodi Terrell, and today I'm really excited to have with me Caleb Campbell of Campbell Development LLC, and Caleb actually is one of the owners of this beautiful building that we're sitting in. It's where we do our podcast, and it's also where I do a lot of my real estate shenanigans. So I wanted to have Caleb on because I felt like it was, number one, I love this building.
Yeah.
Everybody that comes in, I'm just like, I always point, I'm like, look at this, look at this, look at this. And I was so happy to find out that someone was going to save it.
Right.
Because if memory serves me correctly, it was kind of slated for demo.
It was, yeah. At one time they were talking about demo, and I don't know if they were going to do it or not. And then it went to auction, and then we picked it up. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So this was the federal courthouse in Etowah County for, I guess, since it was built, which was in 1910, I believe.
Yeah, 1910, 1911 is when it was finished, the first phase, and it was originally one story, and it served as like the courthouse and I think the post office as well.
Yeah.
And then they expanded it over the next several years. I think in like the 30s they finished the expansion. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That would explain a lot of the like Art Deco motifs that you'll see throughout the building. I will say this: if you've never had an opportunity to be inside the federal building, you should try to, maybe y'all should have an open house or something during the holidays. Hopefully it'll be better this Christmas.
Yeah, when we can get people in here.
Yes,
so
it'll be a lot better.
For sure.
But I want to hear a little bit about your story because you're a young guy. You have this building. You also have the building next door that's got some sweet lofts in it, and also some commercial space or retail space on the main level. And so you guys have really become a pretty vital part to our downtown.
Yeah.
So how did you get started in real estate?
So, I moved out to Texas when I was around 21 and bought my first property there. And originally it was going to be a home we lived in for a while, but with work, we began moving around pretty good bit, so we weren't there at all. So
Were you out there for oil and gas?
Oil and gas,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. We worked in the Barnett Shale around Fort Worth, Texas. And then we started working in like Oklahoma and West Texas and South Texas. So we were traveling more, living in hotels. And we decided, hey, it's best, we're never there anyway. We'll just rent that property. So that was kind of how we got started in it. Started renting that one. Then we bought a duplex out there, started renting it, and we traveled pretty much straight for about 8 years. So, So over those 8 years, we were able to, basically pay the properties down while working a job as well. And that just kind of snowballed into more and more things as we settled down. We got an office in Fort Worth, and then we moved to the Northeast in Pittsburgh, bought an office up there, flipped a couple properties up there. My sister does way more than I do. She does a lot more real estate than me, but that's kind of how we got started in it. Yeah.
Is your sister here locally? I've never.
She's
met
in
her.
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
She comes down from time to time, but
Right.
she runs our office in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So
what's the office in Pittsburgh? Is it real estate related or is it
it's
more oil and gas?
more oil and gas.
Okay.
Yeah. We work out of Pittsburgh. We work Southwest PA, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and northern or eastern Ohio. So and working oil and gas. And it's a real estate portion of oil and gas. So it's more of the mineral side of things.
Right.
We do title research for them. We run things back to like mid 1800s and forward, just to see who owns the minerals, and then see if it's leased, see if it's held by production. So all the paperwork side of things, and then we do leasing. We do some oil and gas right away, for pipelines and things of that nature. So
Are y'all feeling the effects of the pipeline shutdown?
No, not yet. We'll have to see how regulations affect, fracking and things of that nature. Everything that's done in that region, pretty much. They have some vertical wells, but most of it's horizontal wells. So that's all fracking. So hasn't affected us yet. But we'll kind of see how it goes.
I was listening to an interesting podcast the other day, And they said that they needed to like remarket fracking because the name sounds so horrible.
Well, they've had a lot of negative press towards it. If it's not done right, it can affect certain things. But a lot of the formations that they're going after nowadays are very deep. So your water table's a couple hundred feet at the most.
Yeah, because the thing I remember most about fracking was I guess there was a documentary or something that showed like fire coming out of somebody's sink.
Usually those are shallow wells that they do that with. Like there's some coal. Coal's usually kind of up a little higher. When they mine it. So there's a thing they do that's like coal bed methane drilling, and it's very shallow. And when they drill, they basically put a casing in through all the formations till they hit the formation they want to get to, and if it's not done properly, or if it's bad, it can cause some problems. But the vast majority, there's thousands and thousands of wells drilled with no problems at all.
Yeah. So really, like any industry,
industry, you have problems, and but the vast majority of the companies that do the drilling, know what they're doing. So there's usually not problems in most of the areas.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, so fast forward to you were traveling around for about 8 years.
Yeah.
You're buying some property up in Pennsylvania. So then you were born here.
I was born here. I was born in North Gadsden and went to Gadsden High School and went to Gadsden State, Harvard on the Hill.
Yes.
And I worked at Goodyear for a while.
Really?
Yeah, while I was going to Gadsden State, I worked at Goodyear. And then we got the opportunity to we had a phone call where a company out of Texas was hiring some people here from here locally, and we decided to pack it up and just go. So just basically over a course of a week, we packed up some things in a little U-Haul trailer and headed to Fort Worth.
I knew a lot of people who did that at that same time.
Yeah, there was like I don't know, maybe 100 of them from here originally that went out there and did that, and. I didn't really know too many people. My wife did. A lot of them were from Southside, so from the Southside area. And, just went out there, and they just kind of threw us in the water. I had no idea anything about the oil and gas industry at all. And they were basically just like, hey, you're going to go in the courthouse, and you're going to be running title, and I didn't know anything about it, so we just went to the courthouse, drove down there, and started trying to figure it out. So, worked for them for a little while, 9 months or so, and then we had a client that wanted us to run some projects for them. So that was kind of how we split off into our own thing.
I gotcha.
So yeah.
So then you ended up coming back to Gadsden.
Yes.
So what year was that? Do you remember?
It was probably. Full time, probably about 3 years ago. Okay. So it hasn't been that long, but on and off, we've been here about 6 years.
I gotcha.
Or so. So, but more full time now. Really, since we opened this office, we had a need several years back. We were going to hire some people locally, and we needed a space, and that was kind of how this came to fruition. We were looking for something downtown in the downtown region, and this one was coming up for auction around the same time. So we were just like, hey, we'll see.
Go big.
Hey, go big.
Worst
case, we can just use a portion of it, because it was in disrepair.
It was awful.
It was in pretty bad shape. They had let the roof leak pretty badly, so every single wall that you see in here had to be redone. So. Wow. Yeah.
So you were like, we need 3,000 square feet. Let's buy 36,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's buy 36,000 and see what see how deep we can dive into this thing. So it was. Anyway, it worked out. It took a while, but I think it worked out.
How long ago was that y'all bought the building?
We bought it. I think. Let me try to think. I think it's 2016, 17, around in there, somewhere around in there. I believe we've had this roughly 3-4 years, somewhere around in there. So
it was sold at an auction. Was it a live auction?
It was online through the GSA, the Government Services Administration, or one of those things, and it was directly from them, and you just pre-registered, and then there was I think there's 5 or 6 bidders on it, and we had set kind of like a price we would go up to, because we knew the building was going to need work. They had a pretty detailed inspection of it, and we knew all the walls were going to need fixed. We knew there's something wrong with the roof, because it was still having some water issues and things of that nature. We knew the heating and cooling systems were probably old,
right?
But nobody really knows how bad. And and we were off-site, but they wouldn't really let you do a walkthrough because they had different government tenants in here. So you kind of just had to do a guesstimate on it, and say, hey, I think we can take care of these issues, these cosmetic issues, and hopefully we don't run into too much craziness as we dig in.
Did y'all run into some craziness? You always do.
I mean, yeah, there was there's issues with the roof. Had two issues. It's got all the drains for the roof go inside the building instead of having gutters that go outside.
Yeah.
They're directed inside, and they go in these walls on the corners of the buildings. I think there's 6 of them, and 2 of them were stopped up. A couple of them were it's metal pipe that's in there, and it's so old that some of it was pitted out and leaking,
corroded. Yeah.
So we were like, okay, well, what do you do here? Well, there's a couple different methods you can fix it. So we had somebody come in here and snake out all the debris and everything like that, and that fixed most of the problem. It was backing up in the gutters and it was flowing into the building. That was the major problem they had, and a couple small leaks on the roof. And then the other thing we did is we had to open up the walls where those pipes were, and actually encase them in the areas where they were pitted out.
Yeah.
So that was a big problem. And the heating and cooling, this building's it's ran by a chiller unit. The chiller unit was probably from the 70s.
I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know what a chiller unit is.
It looks like a big, almost like a locomotive engine. It's probably 6 feet by 4 feet high, large engine. Basically, what it is it's your compressor, or it runs the coolant. The whole building's heated and cooled by water.
Right, because there's still radiators.
Yeah, there's radiators.
Right.
So it's they call it a single loop system, but it's in the winter you switch it over to heat and it runs off a boiler, and in the summertime it runs off a chiller. And what all the chiller does, it cools the water down and runs it through air handlers that are in the building, just like in your house.
Yeah.
And that water is really, really cool, runs through a radiator, and it's air's forced through it. That's what cools the whole building. It's very efficient, super efficient. But the other one was on its last leg. I mean, when we bought the building, we had 2 tenants in here. We had the Social Security Administration. They were still here on the first floor, and all the other floors were vacant. And then we had Adderholt, the congressman's office. And they were the only 2 tenants. And, right when they handed over the keys to us, the chiller starts going out. Well, it's not something you just go pick up from a local, person here and they can just slap a new one in. They have to be ordered. So we limped it through the rest of that summer. And then in the next year we had to order one, and we got it installed, and now it runs great. So, and the newer ones are easier to work on. That one was a nightmare, because it was older. So, but now it runs great. It's very efficient. We upgraded that. We upgraded a couple of the air handlers as well, fixed those. So the heating and cooling on the building works fantastic. So, and
y'all are full now. So basically, let's back up, because the idea for the Campbell building, which is what it's now called, it was to have individual office suites, basically, with some shared common space. Right. So I rent 2 offices from you, quote unquote offices, but then I have access to this conference room, which was the jury room.
Yes.
And then you guys have break rooms and common bathrooms, and you sort of provide internet for most people. I think some people have to pay their own.
Yeah, most people. We have certain businesses want their own dedicated server or their dedicated line for security reasons. But on this floor, I believe our internet stretches all the way to the basement. I haven't tried it in the basement yet, but if we have a tenant that says, "Hey, I want just a package deal," we'll provide that.
And that's so awesome and convenient. Yeah,
because a lot of them, they're budgeting out their year, and they just want to know, hey, what's the X amount of money I'm going to have to pay, for an office space.
Right.
And so we wanted to give that type of flexibility for it, and it's worked out really well. Yeah, we're 100% full, and we anticipate being. I mean, we got a little bit of a waiting list as well. So, having the ability to have some smaller offices and kind of work with people, saying, hey, we'll divide you up this space or that space and give you internet. Power's included, water's included. We do all the bathroom maintenance,
You
in
make
the common
it very easy.
Yeah, it's just, hey, you can come in and work and clean your own space up, and then that's all you got to worry about. And plus, the location is great. I mean, that was one thing we liked about this building. You can walk to food. The courthouse is close by. The post office is a block away.
Right.
I mean, it's a great location. So.
And I think one thing that has come out of this whole pandemic that we've been in is the fact that people are realizing that they don't need huge office space.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think there's definitely gonna be a trend towards this type of thing. Where
a couple offices that you can get business done. Some people want like a bullpen area, and that's what this conference room is great about too. Is like the people on this floor can share it. Because you don't always need a conference room.
No.
But it's nice to be able to reserve it for an hour or two, a day or a week or whenever you need it. So yeah, we're definitely seeing that. I mean, even in some of our businesses, like on the oil and gas side or some other sides, they're all transitioning to online. Most of them's either working from home and been doing that for 6 months, 9 months, however long, and they're also downsizing their office space. There are some clients that we work for that have 100,000 square feet of office space, and they're not going to have that much. There is a need for it. I mean, like even in our business, like I feel like some people are more productive in an office setting, and some people can work from home and get the same amount of work done, but some can't. I prefer to work in an office. If I'm at the house, I just feel like I can get distracted a little more, whereas I can go in an office and just knock it out. And then I can go.
Right.
So I do think there is a good place for an office, but it's like you said, I think there is a lesser need, and that's one thing we noticed. Originally when we first got the bill, it was like, oh, maybe we can get one big government tenant, to take care of it and sign a longer term lease. Well, we kind of looked in that, and the way they're set up, they may sign a new lease every 15 years.
Right.
And when they were mothballing this building to be sold, they had already lined up new leases elsewhere. They wouldn't renew leases for whatever reason in this building, because I guess they thought they were going to sell and they didn't know what it was going to be. So they had to line up new leases for the other tenants. So once we saw that, we said, well, okay, well, maybe we can kind of compartmentalize it, and get some smaller tenants in there, and it's worked out really well. I actually prefer it that way.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I really do. I enjoy being here, and the reason that I ended up in this space was my real estate company is actually licensed out of property management office, but it's like a revolving door.
Yeah.
And people know my car.
Yeah.
I have a personalized tag.
Yeah.
And you can't hide.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't get a lot of stuff done, like especially a lot of my creative work that I like to do, content creation, and and then I'm working on like some of our remodel projects where I'm trying to pick out finishes, and I just wanted a place to come and just to be quiet.
Right.
And this building is very secure. I love that. It's not if you're coming in and out of this building, it's with a purpose.
Yes.
And you have to be let in.
Yeah.
And so that's very nice.
That was something we wanted. I mean, we put mag locks on both the doors and then key fob access. And we just didn't want people just roaming through the building, either bothering people or just that shouldn't be there.
Right.
So, we wanted it to be, that was why we named it the Campbell Professional. We wanted to be a professional setting to where people can come, lease space, and get their work done. And then, if they have guests or customers or something like that want to get in, they can buzz them in or let them in.
It works really well.
Yeah.
And then I'm always so excited. I love to show people the courtroom.
Oh yeah, we're getting started on it.
I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so awesome.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the goal is to have it done this year. So we were holding out a little bit, and I don't know if they'll listen to this, but we're holding out for a grant. So I was kind of trying to say, hey, we're gonna get this done, but it's never gonna come. So we're just gonna go ahead and do it. The goal is to have it done, and we want to have a Christmas party there, a company Christmas party. So the goal is to have it done before that, hopefully October-ish or so. So
the courtroom is just really incredible. The ceilings, what do you think? 20?
Yeah, they're at least 20 feet.
At least 20 feet.
Yeah.
Huge moldings.
Yeah.
There's a mural in there.
Yeah.
And it's the mural I think was painted. But you've got some notes on that.
Yeah, I've got some notes on the mural
because it's pretty impressive, and
it's an original oil painting, and it was painted by Gilbert White, and let's see here. Yeah, it's called Nemesis, and it's a mural of an angel. and a man that has slayed another man, because it's a courtroom setting.
Yeah.
And then the angel's coming down to basically weigh him, and see if he.
And the angel has a sword.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Yep, it has a sword, and I'm trying to see. The bodybuilder on it was an actual bodybuilder from that time. His name was Eugene Sando. I guess he was famous back in the day. So he was actually the artist.
Like their muse or model, I should say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
And the jury box is still there with all of the chairs and
and we're going to leave those. Yeah, we're going to leave the jury
neat.
box. Basically we're going to try to restore it basically back to how it was. The only thing we're going to remove is the court reporter box. It's kind of in the middle and in the way. So we're just going to kind of open that up a little bit, and then it's going to be a community space to where people can use it for parties and get-togethers and stuff like that. So
little classes.
Classes. It's going to be great. So we're excited about getting that project underway this year.
And my office space is right across the hall from it. So I'm like, I feel like I'm in a primo spot. We looked out because we're one of the last offices. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the best place.
It is, I mean, we chose this floor because we really like it. So, with the marble flooring, and I just think it's a beautiful floor. Even the courtroom, the doors that go in, it's just really beautiful woodworking.
And you know what I was curious about? I wonder how high these ceilings actually are, because there's
they go a lot higher.
There's drop ceiling in all of the offices and in the room that we're in right now, but you can tell from how the windows are.
Downstairs, if you look in the downstairs floor, if you look in the hallway, they're all that high. So it goes originally it was really, really, really tall everywhere. I think when they put in heating and cooling, they put the drop ceilings in. And it also on the bottom floor, it hides all like the duct work. And it hides all the air handlers and things of that. Piping, there's piping all over the place up there. So, but these are higher too. They're probably, I don't know, maybe another 3 feet tall. Something like that.
That's impressive.
And it's all plaster. Like if you go up, like it's got curved plaster ceilings.
Oh, it's coved.
It is. Yeah. Originally it was that way, but the reason why they have it in there, if you look up there, there's the sprinkler systems are everywhere.
So let's talk about the other project that you have, the other development that's next door, because I was able to kind of get a little peek of one of the loft apartments the other night. They had the lights on and the curtains were pulled back and it was dark outside, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I gotta
really
see
nice.
it.
Yeah, so it's the Loft of 612. It was originally I believe Long Furniture's warehouse, showroom, office, the whole 9 yards, and the building itself had kind of fallen into some disrepair. It had the same issue this had, but 9 times worse. It had roof issues. It'd probably been leaking for 10 years at least. The back, it's got two basically buildings sandwiched together. It had like a warehouse section, and then in the front that meets Broad Street, it had the showroom, which was on the bottom, and they have offices on the top. And the whole building itself is 40,000 square feet.
So it's actually bigger than the federal building.
It's bigger than this building. It doesn't look it from the street, but yeah, it's a huge building. And but we really liked it. We liked the location, and with us owning the federal building, we kind of wanted that building too. And we all had the idea to want to do some loft apartments. And the good thing about that building, the design of it is that it had tall ceilings. And, we wanted to give that idea of like an exposed rafter type feel and the brick. I really like the brick color that it has there. And the brick was in good shape. Like a lot of the old buildings in downtown Gadsden, I don't know if they used a bad type mortar or a certain type mortar, but
crumbles.
It's crumbling.
Yes.
Yeah, it's falling apart, and it costs you more money you can just build a new structure. You just tear it down, build a new structure for cheaper than you could repoint all that.
Right.
But this building had the brick was in really good shape. It needed a whole new roof. The roof had 3 roofs on it. Tar, gravel. So probably that needed to be removed way 10 years ago. But yeah, we completely gutted it, took everything out of it, and then Did loft apartments up top. So we were doing it in 2 phases. We're still working on the second phase. It's got, on the front portion of the building, which is 20,000 square feet, it's got a dance studio on the bottom that's got 3 different dance stages. It's got showers and locker rooms and, a foyer area.
And they really have it nice.
It's super nice. I mean, it's one of the nicest. It's got to be the nicest dance studio in Gadsden.
And again,
it's super nice.
at night, you can kind of peek in when the lights are on inside the building, and you really can see. And they just have it decorated really cute,
beautiful.
and it's a great looking space.
Yeah. So we built that out for her. That's Glory and Grace Dance, and they do a fantastic job. And then the upstairs was the first phase of the loft apartments, and we have 7 there, and they're completed. They're all leased up right now. And they're awesome. They range from about, I think the smallest one we have is around 1,000 square feet, maybe 900, and then most of them are around 1,400 square feet. So they're very large apartments, and we have 1 bedrooms and 2s. So they have 16-foot ceilings. The ones that are on Broad Street have huge windows. I bet they're 20 feet, or so.
Caleb, I have to have a tour.
They're really awesome.
I'm just so
I mean,
upset
I want
that
to live
I've
in
never
them,
been in there.
but I can't because I have partners. So,
Yeah.
but they're great. They're at a great price.
What are you leasing them for?
They're $1,100 dollars a month. Yeah, and we have parking right next door, and then we're completing covered parking. Now that won't be available for every tenant because there's going to be. In the end, there's going to be 15 apartments, so we'll have space for 10.
And that's all on that second floor.
Yeah, it's on the rear. So like we have apartments up top on the front. We have the dance studio down on the bottom. Then on the back building, it's 10,000 square feet on the bottom too. It's covered parking. So we cut a window out that was going to Chestnut Street, and kind of it was laid out in a way that you could put 10 cars in there. So and they're big parking spots too, so they're not real tight. And so we got that.
So this isn't just covered parking. This is like
it's enclosed.
Almost like a garage
It has a commercial garage door on it, and it's lit up and sprinklered and the whole 9 yards. It's
that's
really
very
cool.
unique for a downtown setting.
Yeah.
To have parking.
And the ceilings
like
in
that.
there, I don't know, 15, 16 feet. So it's a really cool feel in there. Like it's really, really cool. And then the upstairs will have 8 1-bedrooms. So we're doing all ones in the back. The majority of people that we have leasing seem like they want a loft apartment, like a true loft, where like the it's open. Basically, the bedrooms we built like a 3/4 wall. And then we have like uplighting and stuff that kind of shines on the ceiling, like glows. You can change the colors on it and stuff like that.
LED lights and
it's
stuff.
It's pretty cool, yeah. And we use quartz countertops on everything, and so it's real exposed ductwork. It's really, really cool. So
it's what you want when you think of a loft.
It's what I want.
It's
I everybody so far has really enjoyed living there. So. And it's also got the same thing as this building does. We have mag locks on everything, so it's key fob access. Each unit's got its own pad where people can buzz up. So like if you have the pizza man come, you can hit a button on the pizza man can hit a button on the outdoor, and you can see them on a screen in your apartment, and then you can either buzz them in or ignore them. So yeah, we tried to think through that. Like on the first phase, we tried to think through all the problems. Like what would we want in an apartment? Is it feasible to do?
Right.
And then we tried to put it all in. And on the back, we're kind of going just a touch more on everything. So we hope to have those done by the end of this year as well. So it just depends on
that's really exciting.
How things go.
Really exciting.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you already have a waiting list for those.
We do. Yeah, we have a waiting list of. I think we got about 15 people on it now.
Wow.
So yeah. So which is good. That was the one thing we had. We kind of looked at is we wanted to price it to where people wanted them. So and they're awesome. I mean I haven't seen anything else really even in Pittsburgh that are as cool as these apartments. They just got a great feel to them. So
I can't wait for a tour of the place. And so you've got the lofts going in this year. The Campbell professional buildings all laced up. So now what?
Well, I mean,
is there anything else on the horizon?
Well, we got to finish the back phase, and then I don't know. I mean, we'll just probably at the end of next year or the following year, we'll kind of look and see where we stand with things. And, I'm sure there will be something else.
Yeah.
I'll just have to get with Anna and Jenna and see if they have, if they want to do anything else. It's kind of like a time management thing as well. Mm-hmm. If you take on too much stuff, you kind of pull from other projects you got going on.
Right.
We still run another business outside of the real estate thing. So, last year when we had all the construction going on, it was a whirlwind. I mean, it was, you're trying to run this business and trying to get construction projects done, and really when you're doing construction, you have to be there. You have to be there with them, or have somebody be there with them. Because, I don't know if they all do it, but they like to cut corners and not do the things they're supposed to do. So you really, my dad's one that does a great job at that. He'll be on top of them and, just bug them to death. Hey, finish this. Are you going to do this? Are you going to do it today? Which is what you need. I mean, you got to have. If it wasn't for Dad, this building wouldn't have got completed. He's on top of everything, and he really has done a great job. So
I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that people make, when they talk to me about flipping houses or doing whatever, is not staying on top of the construction process, because, time is money.
Yeah.
And your budget and your timeline can get out of control if you're not on it every day.
If you're not on it, you don't understand what you're putting in, you're going to get ripped off 90% of the time. I hate to say that, but it's happened. It happened on this project. It happened on the other project. But you got to be there to stop it. And to either make the decision to, hey, this is what we agreed on. You need to finish it, or if they won't, you got to move on to another person. Because, like you said, time is money. You kind of that. You have that urge to go, well, I want to keep using this person because I need to get it done. But there is that thing to where do I need to find another contractor, or do I need to do this or do that? So if you're not there, you won't know. You'll just hear the feedback from the contractor, and that is, you need to see it with your eyes and confirm what they're telling you. Because we all want to believe that everybody's the most truthful person in the world, but they're looking out for themselves, and you've got to look out for yourself.
Yeah.
So,
and I spend a lot of time talking to subs.
Yeah.
And I try to go to every job site at least once. I try to go every day.
Yeah.
At least every other day.
Yeah.
And I talk to the subs. Do you see anything weird?
Yeah.
Are you happy? Are you getting paid?
Yeah. Plus, you need
to ask those questions.
Say you're building something with an architectural drawing, right? And then they go in there. The contractor's just going to build that. He's just going to build it because it's what's on the piece of paper.
Right.
It's what you paid him to do. But there's sometimes when you go in there and they start working on something, or you have a portion of it complete, and that's not going to work. This is going to be off, or that's going to be off. So that's really the most important thing, is make sure you're not making any big money mistakes by having something completed that you've agreed to. So it's not their fault, it's your fault or your architect's fault or whatever. But you could stop it early and just move something, or change something small. And it's not going to be a whole lot of cost involved. But once they build it, you got to pay for it twice, and then the demo of it and the whole 9 yards. So that really for us, especially on this project, we had to change some things because the architect had drawn some stuff out that he thought was going to work. We get in there, it doesn't make any sense, or now we have to move a door, we have to do this, or we need a pocket door over here because there's not enough room. And that's the major thing we noticed is be there at least a couple days a week.
Or like me, there's always a dreaded vent pipe.
Yeah, the
wall,
vents. Yeah,
and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And then you're going, do I move it? What's it cost to move it? Can I get around it?
Yeah.
Can we make this a focal point?
Yeah.
Can we create? Can this be a feature?
It's a feature. It's a feature vent.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
But I swear, every project we run into is something like that.
Yeah.
And those are just things you don't know until you start tearing in.
That was another reason why we did the lofts in two phases, is that we wanted to make sure we could complete one correctly and iron out all the kinks, and then instead of doing it all because we could have done it all at one time. There's big enough contractors in Gadsden where they could have just blown it all out. But that was good for us. I mean, it was really good for us because we learned. It took them about a year and a half from when they got started to completion to finish that, and really probably longer than that to iron out all all the little details and stuff that needed touch ups and things of that nature. But now in the second phase, we've learned what works. So,
well, and I think too, it gave you a chance to sort of gauge your market interest.
Yeah, that's true.
So instead of where you might, I don't know, I'm speaking for you, but where I might have gone into it and thought, oh, I need to do all 2 twos, 2 bedroom, 2 baths.
Yeah.
And now you've sort of gauged the market, and you're like, no, we're doing 1 bedrooms, lofts. That's what people want.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people are professionals that work around here. We have a lawyer, we have some financial advisors, we have nurses, we have a doctor that lives in there, and typically some of them are full-time residents. Some of them it's just, hey, I've got a house in Birmingham. I come here. It's expensive to have a hotel. I want my own spot down here, and they just rent a loft apartment, keep their clothes and stuff. And so when they're here, say they got a resident or they have an office that they come to once a week or twice a week or something like that. Well, they'll just stay in the loft apartment. So but yeah, I mean, the 1 bedrooms, we like having a couple 2s as well. We got 4 2-bedrooms already. So we had 3 1s and 4 2s, and we feel like we got enough 2s. So we're going back to the 1s now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. So I always like to kind of dive into really quick to before we wrap this up.
Yeah.
So you're obviously an entrepreneur.
I guess. Just trying to make it, make it through
I mean,
life.
that's what entrepreneurism is. It's like, we're just going to plow forward and see what happens because you don't have any other options.
That's what you got to do. Absolutely.
And so were you from a really entrepreneurial family, or what do you think inspired you? I know you said earlier before we started recording that Campbell Development is actually you and your wife and your sister.
It is, yeah. We were from a very hardworking family,
yeah.
And I think that, that really kind of instilled in us that, if you want to do something, you got to put some work into it. And, my dad worked at Goodyear and retired from Goodyear and worked hard for us, every single day, I'd worked at Goodyear a little bit. I had, when I was at 18, I got a summer internship there, right out of high school, and realized pretty quickly that, this probably isn't for me. I stayed there. I think I worked there about a year and a half or so, and, went summer internship, went to Gadsden State. They just went ahead and hired me on full time. So, Goodyear, and it was a great job. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't bad and everything, but, I worked on the paint line. Some people here probably know what that is. And, I enjoyed it, but I wanted to do something else. And, when that opportunity arose, and they don't happen every day, I was just like, well, I'll try it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but we'll go and see what we can do there. So. And
that was the opportunity to go to Texas.
That was the Texas.
And you really, and I'm sure you probably didn't know where that was going to lead.
No.
And you probably never thought it was going to lead back to owning the federal building and another 40,000 feet downtown.
Our whole group, Anna, me, Jenna, Jenna's brother, we've been, we've been all over the place. I mean, we've been to Montana. We've worked projects. I worked in seismic permitting for a while, which is it's basically where they image the formations of the earth using energy. Sometimes they use a type of dynamite, basically, or they use.
Hey, I watch Oak Island.
Okay, so they use dynamite. They use vibe trucks.
Oak Island comes on tonight. Yeah. That is honestly the only show I've watched for however many seasons.
I've done that 1,000 times. I mean, we've done projects from 300 square miles to a mile.
It really is incredible. So
it's awesome.
So basically, what you're referring to is you take these little small charges or small blasts.
Small charges, yeah.
Put them in the ground, and you got all these wires running everywhere that's hooked up to a computer.
Yeah, they got geophones. It's basically just like a microphone, but way, way more sensitive. And they stomp those things in the ground, and they put it on a grid. I mean, they got 2 different types of, that I know of, 2 different types of, primarily the seismic that they do. They have 2D, which is a piece of paper, it's flat. And then they got 3D, which gives you a 3D image of the formations. And they use that, because oil and gas is typically in a formation somewhere, and they use that to see exactly where it's at. So, like, whether they're drilling a horizontal well and trying to get into a pocket, or if they're trying to, formations are like cakes.
Right.
And the good one, you got to follow it. It's not just straight across like people think. Sometimes there's ups and downs and things of that nature. And when they're drilling, they have to follow that. or they don't get any money because they'll be in just a rock, and the rock's not producing anything. So, yeah, we basically, our portion of our company that we would do, we go in, we get the county data from, your local county, see who owns all the surface, because that's what we dealt with. We dealt with surface and minerals, but you just permit the minerals. And then we go get permission from all the landowners that we could. And, and then the geophysical company would come in behind us, and they would have crews come out. They'd lay the phones out. And there's two different types of energy they use. They use like the dynamite type, and they'll drill a hole. Have a drill truck come by, drill a little hole in the ground, and they'll put that in there, and they'll wire it all up, and set those off in a different type of series. It's not crazy loud. If you're standing by it, you hear like a thump.
Right.
It's like boop, that's kind of what it sounds like. And that energy will travel down. It bounces off formations. It's basically like a sonogram.
Right.
Of the Earth. And when it's all done, they use computers to stick. It's basically a bunch of 2Ds they have spliced together, and it makes it 3D.
Stitch it all together.
Yep.
And so the show that I was referring to, The Curse of Oak Island.
Yeah.
They're looking for a treasure vault.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were using it trying to find a void or a cavity or something. And, it's really is incredible when you think about how that technology has changed the mining industry, the oil and gas industry. Because I guess used to, it was primitive. You just tore up the earth. You just dug these giant holes and tore everything up.
A lot of guesswork. They would do a thing called wildcatting. They would go out to an area where they thought it was good, and it was called a wildcatter, and they drill a well, and if it was a good well, guess where everybody's going? They're going as close to that good well as they can go. And there is some of that today, but usually they can save some money by shooting seismic beforehand, and get a better idea. Or they may drill one well and then shoot seismic around it to see, how good the other areas are. It also helps them find faults in the earth. There's everything's fractured down there. So, when they frack or they do something like that, they use pressure to get that stuff back up. And if there's a fault, it'll go to the area of least resistance. So it'll go in the fault instead of coming up. So you'll lose a well out of it or lose a lot of production. So they try to look for cracks and faults in the earth as well. So there's a lot involved.
Never thought about that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and a well could be $3 million to drill one well. That's just to drill it. That's not everything else that's involved with it. So
wow.
Yeah, it's very important for that they drill good ones. So
we're still in the oil and gas business.
Yeah, still in it.
In the leasing part, and still and just doing real estate and just trying to keep everything going, And when we talked the other day, you were at baseball, so you're raising kids at this point?
Yeah, raising kids. I've got 2 kids. I got a 5-year-old and a 2, and they're great. Awesome. We love them, and he's in soccer, basketball, doing all that, and she's a little young for that right now, but yeah, they're great kids. Love them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Caleb, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed it. And let's tell everybody if they wanted more information on, maybe getting on a waiting list for an office space or for a loft. What's the best way that people can find information about y'all?
You can reach out at contact@campbelldev.com, and that's
Campbell,
yeah.
Campbell.
.com, and then just send an email, or they can text me at 817-676-4187. Either way is fine.
Right.
I'll give you some information on availability and things.
And we're going to put everything in our notes for the show, and so if anyone needs to get in touch with you, they can. And I'm really excited, and maybe we'll do a little quick video when you let me tour the building next door.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that would be really fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it. And thank y'all for tuning in to this week's episode of My Flippin' Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can follow us on Facebook, Our Flipping Life, Instagram, our.flipping.life. And be sure to check out all the services that we offer at jngrealestate.com. We're buying houses, selling houses, apartment complexes, you name it. We're pretty much involved in it, and it's getting farming season too, so y'all stay tuned for some exciting updates on the farm this year. I can't wait. You guys take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.